what we've done is we've touched the pulse of Americans, and they are looking for information. They're looking for people to tell them the truth, and that's what we're doing. And as you were talking about the latest book, Talking to the Dead, as I was leaving the studio last night, in the wee hours of the morning, I saw what I thought was a dead person outside of our studio door. I kid you not. Some guy just flat on his face with his coat over his head, in pitch black. He was dead. He looked dead. Security guard came out and kicked him, and the guy started snoring. And he said, "Oh, my gosh, I better call the cops and get him away." This planet is going through so many weird things right now. I can't keep track of them. Can you?
No, I can't. In fact, I've reached total overload with the amount of craziness that's going on. Tell us about your book.
Well, the book is called Talking to the Dead, and it is a book about the spirit world and what people are trying to do to communicate with the other side. And it is truly one of the most incredible stories I've ever have done. I wrote the book, Alex, with Rosemary Ellen Guiley, who's an expert in the paranormal. And she is a great researcher, and the two of us started investigating the various ways that people are trying to communicate with the other side. And it's really uncanny. Yeah, there are some hucksters out there and some frauds, but there are also some people out there who truly think that they can communicate with those on the other side. Maybe one day you're going to feel a phone call from someone who's passed on. Maybe Abe Lincoln will tell you.
Well, I'm going to say this. Because of the political things I get into, I stay out of this because of how it would be used. But I've had some interesting experiences in my life. I'm going to leave it at that. And there is a lot going on this planet out in space that we haven't figured everything out yet. In fact, I don't think we figured out 1% of what's happening. But what about this? I know there are hucksters out there claiming they communicate with the dead, but there's also people who do believe they are, and it surely may be happening. I know that the near-death experiences, when people actually die, they're experiencing similar things. People I really respect, or they come back with new knowledge. But what about hucksters on the other side? What about what a lot of Christians believe, that these are actually demons masquerading as the dead with this whole necromancy situation?
That's absolutely true. You just never know what's on the other side. You don't know what's coming across these various portals. I don't play with Ouija boards anymore because you never know what you're going to get. And a lot of people who are extremely spiritual and religious think that we're being tricked. This is the work of the devil, and that they will do anything they can to possess people, to take over. I think most of our politicians, other than Ron Paul, I think they're all possessed.
I do too.
It is unbelievable. And, we're just going through right now one of the most incredible times I have ever seen. In my years, I've never seen the world so topsy-turvy. And my theory is that the globalists are doing everything they can to do this as quickly as they can. And the reason why they're under so much stress and pressure to get this done now is because they know we finally know, and that we've had enough. And
yes,
that we're out to push and push and push. And we're not going to stop.
Well, it's like the movie They Live. The sunglasses are now going on. George, I want to come back in the next little segment or two that we have with you. You got to go at 40 after or so because I know you're busy. And get into Occupy Wall Street, the Globalist, what you think from your deep research and all the experts you've talked to, their master plan is. But first, spend a few minutes, because I wanted to get you on because I saw the book had just come out, and you don't like to toot your own horn, but I've read your past books. They're excellent. Give us a snapshot of this new book.
Talking to the Dead is a book that will help people understand what happens to all of us when it's time to check out and go to the other side. It will explain the various methods that are out there to communicate with the spirit world. And more importantly, it's affordable, Alex. Amazon.com. I mean, this is going to be in bookstores Tuesday all over the country. But Amazon's selling it right now at like $14 and change. I don't know how they do it. I guess because they don't own real estate, they're able to discount these things tremendously. But it's going up in the charts, and you know, if every coast-to-coast listener and if every listener to Alex Jones picked up a copy, we'd have a bestseller on our hands.
Well, there's people that don't care about what they do to the world, and I've found they're never spiritual people. I've learned what you do comes back on you many-fold. I guess that's what they mean by the term God-fearing. You don't have to wait till you die to be punished, in my experience. You're punished while you're here and while you're alive. And I've talked to so many family members. My uncle died 6 times when he had a motorcycle accident, and he saw everything Colonel Craig Roberts saw when he died for 10 minutes during cancer surgery. And, you know, the guardian angel that's been there your whole life, that was your imaginary friend when you were a kid, all of that. I'm here to tell you, George, it's real.
It is real. There's no question about it, Alex. And, you know, one day we will all see it on the other side. And, you know, while we're talking about it, condolences to the family of Steve Jobs. I mean, you talk about a new era Thomas Edison. I mean, the guy was an absolute genius. And this planet needs more and more people like that.
Yeah, Steve Jobs, no doubt, was a major genius. And when we come back, we'll speak a little bit more about Steve Jobs and then get into where George Noory thinks the global controllers are taking us and who he thinks basically commands those heights and where he sees this collision of tyrants and those that love liberty. The new book, ladies and gentlemen, available on Amazon.com first. And that's what they do. They like make you sell it to them at discount and then slice it down to nothing. So you can get this book that was $24.99 for $14.69 out of the gates. Talking to the Dead with George Noory. Stay with us. We'll be back with more of George Noory.